Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brendan Plays and welcome to the Let's Talk Thursdays podcast. This is the show where we're going to chat everything to do with the world of wrestling, leading into, of course, Raw 25 is coming up next week. After that, the Royal Rumble. So lots to talk about in this week's show. And if you want to leave a question for next week's show, please do so by the YouTube comment section. Leave a comment down there. You can also leave one on the forums, BrendanPlays.com/forums. Free to join up. And you can get on the forums there and you can talk about all the latest in wrestling, all the news and rumors. You can chat about it all there. And we'll also do that on our Discord chat there. Everything right there is free. So you can join up and join in the fun and the discussion there. While you're there, obviously leave a question. But also you can leave a question on our Facebook page, facebook.com/BrendanPlays. And normally we put up the post every Wednesday night, Wednesday morning, or Tuesday night I should say. I got my time zones mixed up. But normally after SmackDown, we leave the post there, so you can leave a question for the show after SmackDown every week. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get straight into the show, where we've got a few things to chat about, a few rumors going around. Obviously, Paige, her situation, we kind of a little bit late onto the scene with this one. It's been known for a little bit of time now, but we'll chat about that and her... Well, rumoured to be potential career-ending injury. We don't know for that to be a fact yet. Potential newcomers and returnees to the WWE. They've announced some new signings this week, and also some rumours going around about some potential TNA/Impact names coming up to the main roster and competing in the Royal Rumble, maybe. Roman Reigns has apparently got himself into some trouble as well with the steroid situation. So plenty more to chat about as well, including Monday Night Raw and the recap and the SmackDown as well, and a couple other little tidbits as well. So before we get into the WWE topics for the week, I just want to give a quick little mention about my upcoming TLC pay-per-views coming up this weekend. Originally it was going to be Saturday, but I'm going to move that to Sunday just to give me that a little bit extra time. I think I try for Saturday. I aim for Saturday, but realistically it's always going to be Sunday, so that's something that I'm just kind of getting used to. But it will be available on the weekend, so on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. UK time. That's when I'll be streaming TLC, and of course, as always, you'll be able to catch the pay-per-view on demand on YouTube and watch it whenever you feel like after the stream is over. So... Big episode of Smoke coming up. Obviously, TLC. It's taken me a little bit long to get there. Obviously, we had a bit of a break in between with the Christmas time and everything like that. So it's been a little bit of time since we've had our last pay-per-view. But this should be a good one. Obviously, we're crowning a new Universal Champion, Samoa Joe, Seth Rollins, one-on-one in a TLC matchup. The winner will get the Universal title that is currently vacated. We've got Roman Reigns versus Edge in a TLC match as well. A bit of a grudge match there. The two guys hate each other. Reigns is out to prove a point that he does deserve to be a world champion and the face of SmackDown, whereas Edge believes Reigns is not the right guy for the job, and Edge is out to try and teach some respect to Roman Reigns. And in other matches, of course, include some tag team titles on the line. We've got the New Day and the Club. We've got Shelton Benjamin, Chad Gable against Orton and Rhino. Ambrose versus Ziggler for the US title. Nia Jax versus Becky for the Women's Championship. And we have the NXT Championship on the line in a tables match. Bobby Roode versus Drew McIntyre. And then one of the other big ones, of course, the Triple Threat WWE Championship match. AJ Styles defending against Braun Strowman and Cesaro. So lots of big matches there. It's going to be a fun show. So make sure, if you can, try and make it to the stream on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. UK time. And of course, as I said, if you can't make it, just watch it afterwards and make sure you drop a comment there and tell me what you think. Well, moving on from TLC, we'll get into the news this week. Paige is probably our opening topic. She's officially been ruled out of the Royal Rumble, and lots of rumors going around that she could have a career-ending neck injury. The injury occurred when Sasha Banks, I believe, was it a kick or a push? I forget now, but took Paige to the ground, who landed face first in the ground. Bit of a whiplash effect, I would assume, and severely hurt her neck. She tried to get back up and continue, but she just couldn't. She had lost feeling. She was trying to shake her arms around to get some feeling, but there was just nothing there. So, disaster, really. Absolute disaster for Paige. Now, I don't know if it is confirmed or not. I think from news right now, it hasn't really been confirmed from WWE She has an injury. She does. So she's out of the Rumble. So she's definitely injured. We just don't know the extent of it. Is she out permanently? That's some of the rumors. Or is it just another, okay, this could be another year-long type of deal or what? If it is another year-long on the stint, a year-long stint on the sidelines, that could be a career-ending injury because WWE might be hesitant to let her back in the ring. Her WWE career could be over. But at least for right now, she's still able to move around. She's still able to be the manager of Absolution. So she's still able to be involved, be on TV, and that's okay. She's the mentor. She's the spokesperson of this group. She's helping Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. So her role is still there. She still has a purpose. She still has a place. Now, if they split that group up, what does Paige do from there? That's the major question. But that won't happen for a while, you would think. At least a few months. At least until after WrestleMania. So Paige has a place for a while. It'll just be whether, they continue her role as a manager or they look elsewhere for her. But it's a major blow for Paige. I listened to her podcast on Lillian Garcia's podcast. She had Paige on and basically told her story for an hour and a half. Really good listen. If you haven't heard it, do so. Paige, obviously talks about her getting into the business, her childhood, things like that, some personal stories, and then obviously the sex tape, the Del Rio relationship. So a lot of that in there, but I got a chance to kind of find out a bit more about Paige, her perspective on things, and how she's coping and feeling. Obviously, she was really down in the dumps with her injuries and the sex tape, things like that. So she's had a horror year. And to me, it felt like when she got back in the ring, everything was okay again. She had finally overcome all those demons, and she's back where she wants to be. She's wrestling again, and almost, I'm not going to say wrestling saved her life, but her life was back on track. She was on drugs, she drank, and she just had an up and down year. She's able to overcome that, get back in the ring, and go from there. Now it's stopped again. Now she's out of the ring again. What's next for Paige? I fear for Paige. I hope that she has some support around her because she'll be down in the dumps again. Let's be honest. You get back in the ring. She was so happy to be back. She's worked hard to get back there, and then it's taken away from you before it even really begins. So it is disastrous. There's been some rumors that Sasha Banks might have some backstage heat on her for, I guess, can you say botching or whatever? I don't know. I don't think Sasha really did anything wrong. It just was that type of freak thing. So I don't really believe there's much heat on Sasha. I think she got a victory in the mixed match challenge. I always get that wrong. Mixed match challenge with Finn Balor. So I don't think there's any real issues there. So I think Sasha's okay. But yeah, it's not an ideal thing. It's not ideal at all. And let's hope the news is good for Paige. If it is a 6 to 12 month injury, I'd rather that than being out for forever. So she's only 25. So that's the real sad thing. I think I looked at Paige. We talked about her when she first burst on the scene 3 or 4 years ago, and we thought, man, this girl could really be a Hall of Fame talent. She could really be the top of the women's division for a decade. And she got a few years in, and just these injuries have caught up with her. The years wrestling once she was really young, probably starting to catch up with her a little bit. Wrestling when your body isn't fully developed, your body's not meant to do that, take that type of punishment. She wrestled hurt all the time, so she really didn't recover from those niggling injuries. So it's just all starting to catch up on her a little bit. But obviously, getting these major injuries is really, really bad to see. So let's hope the news is good. But for right now, the rumors are not great. But as I said, the rumors take with a grain of salt. But she's definitely going to be out of the Royal Rumble. So that's obviously a major blow for Paige, but also a major blow for the Rumble. I'm sure they had something planned for Absolution there, probably to meet up with the Riot Squad at some point. So will they still go with that? I don't know. Will it be as effective? I don't know. So, yeah, and it means, well, what it will mean, though, is obviously Paige is out, but it will mean that someone else from NXT will probably get that spot, which is good for someone else. I mean, good for a new face to get in the Rumble, or another legend could take that spot. So, like we said last week on the show, there's a lot of spots available. They announced that it's 30 women, so there's about 10 spots available for NXT girls and women, the legendary women, to come back as well. So there's going to be some surprises. There's definitely going to be surprises. Who or what that will be, I don't know. It wouldn't shock me if they maybe announce a woman or two on Raw 25. Maybe, just to throw a name in there, maybe Beth Phoenix says, hey, I'm going to be in, or something like that. Or Kelly announces that she's going to be in the Rumble. Something like that, just to add a bit of interest. Wouldn't shock me if they announce at least one or two legends that will be in that match, just to hype up the match a little bit further. I'm sure the Bellas will probably announce they'll be in it, or be in it, or they will be in it. I'm sure they'll do something around it, but so it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how they kind of fill that spot for the Rumble for Paige. But let's hope that Paige does recover and can get back in that ring. More rumors going around, and this is a little bit more positive news, especially for me because I'm a fan of both these guys, Lashley and EC3, Ethan Carter III, or Derek Bateman, as WWE fans or NXT fans will know him as. He was here for a while ago, and obviously Bobby Lashley. Lashley, I don't think he's been in WWE for 10 years. I think he left 10 years ago, about 08, when he was getting a major push. He was in the World Championship match with Cena. I think that was his last match, and he was gone. I was a major fan of Lashley. Still am. I don't obviously watch Impact much anymore. Maybe once or twice a year I'll tune in for a pay-per-view. That's about it, and that's kind of where I'm at, because I'm just really turned off by the product. From what I've been hearing, I think Josh Matthews got a championship or something like, I don't know, something really ridiculous went down, so I'm just kind of like, take a step back and not worrying about it. But I'm a big fan of Lashley. Really disappointed to see him go from WWE in the first place. I thought he could be that African-American male to finally win that WWE Championship, other than, of course, The Rock. So it's been quite some time. I thought he might be that one to really be that vocal point, be one of the top guys for quite some time. I thought he had the ability to do it. Just obviously lacked the promo, but that's okay. He can move on from that if you're good enough. I mean, look, Roman Reigns isn't the best promo. Look at him now. He's doing pretty well. So I thought for sure he was going to be a major star, and he was on his way there, but obviously some personal things kind of went down and let him down. Went to TNA for a little bit and kind of left, went to did the MMA thing. Successful in MMA, I believe, so he's had a successful MMA career. Back in TNA, he had a lot of success when he came back. They kind of pushed the show around, marketed the show around him and pushed him really hard, gave him the championship a number of times. And he did pretty well. So I think Lashley coming back would be fantastic. He is 41. I don't know how much people will be aware of who he is. I don't think he'll get an AJ Styles pop or anything like that. But if they have him come in and just beat the crap out of someone, or whether that be in the Rumble or something else, and really set the bar high from the get-go, people will start to take notice of him. If he comes in the Rumble and throws John Cena out, or, I don't know, another big name, Roman Reigns will be in the Rumble? Probably, I don't know. But throws out a couple big names, that will be huge and get him started right from the get-go. I think you got to bring him in as a heel. I think as a babyface it would be tough to do. I think him as just that silent killer heel, that MMA guy. And obviously, the Lesnar and Lashley match, I personally would like to see it, but I don't know if WWE will go with that, at least not for WrestleMania yet. But could be down the line if Lashley does succeed. But I definitely think he's going to the main roster. I think for sure. I haven't read a lot of rumors about it because I've been trying to avoid any potential spoilers, because I just want to watch the Rumble and not be like, oh yeah, I knew he was going to be in it. I can speculate that he might be in it, but I don't really want to say, yep, he's definitely going to be in. So I'm kind of avoiding some of the rumors and not quite reading about he or EC3. But I'm definitely excited to see Lashley. EC3, I think he's 34 now. He's still got a lot of years ahead of him. Has a terrific look, great charisma about him, good promo, good in the ring. I think he's the full package. I really believe that he could be a huge star for WWE. TNA used him pretty well. I feel like maybe the last year or two, not really giving him the ball was probably a mistake. I felt as though they should have had, gave him the championship and let him do more with it. But I really believe he is a hot prospect for WWE. I think when he was originally in, I really didn't see much in him, but he's one of those guys who've gone away, a bit like Drew McIntyre, gone away and just succeeded, found their identity, found their character, succeeded, done well, and they've come back, or potentially coming back, a lot better. So, will he go to the main roster? I personally don't think he needs to go to NXT. I think they might send him to NXT just to find him a gimmick and establish him there. Wouldn't be the worst idea. Get him a gimmick, new name, new identity, find it there, fine-tune it, blah, blah, blah. Maybe he wouldn't have the name power, I guess, to go to the main roster straight away. I think people know of him, but I'm not sure. He'll definitely need a new name. I don't see him using Ethan Carter. He might keep the Ethan and do something else. Maybe, Ethan and something else starting with C, but we'll have to see. Or he could just come in as straight EC3. Who knows? But I think it will certainly be very exciting to have him in and see how he goes. Now, I'm not obviously expecting WWE to do too much, but if he gets over, I really could see them going with him because he has that real marketable look that they can go with. So he has a lot of potential, that's for sure. So I'll say he'll go to NXT for now, but I think he probably doesn't really need to. But then again, a lot of other guys, probably Roode didn't need to go, Aries didn't need to go, so a lot of other names didn't need to go, but they still put him down there. But I guess for Carter, certainly need to find him a new character, a new name, new identity, and work on that down in NXT. As for Lashley, bring him up, ready to go, let's do it. A few other names to join up as well. War Machine, the tag team from New Japan. Don't know a lot about them. I've seen them a little bit, but just haven't really seen much about them. But I've heard good things, so that's a good signing for them. Obviously, another tag team is good. Bringing them in and working with some of the new tag teams as well will help. But they should succeed. I think the tag division is doing quite well in NXT to a degree. And adding another team there will strengthen it. Candice LeRae, we probably expected her to be signing for a while now. She was in the Mae Young Classic, so no real surprise there. But again, another good choice, another good signing. She's a good worker. Obviously, the wife of Johnny Gargano, so that will always help getting her feet in the door. But she's good enough, definitely good enough to be there, and I'm sure she will have some relative success. But I guess the big one that a lot of people have been talking about is Ricochet. I don't know if they'll go with the Ricochet name. I believe they won't. They certainly addressed him, I think, as Trevor something man, is it? I don't know. They addressed as his regular name quite a lot and used Ricochet, Trevor, Ricochet, blah, blah, blah. So I feel as though they're kind of, yes, they're putting Ricochet there so people know who it is when they're talking about him, but I feel like that could be setting up for a name change. Which wouldn't be the worst idea. I mean, Ricochet is not a bad name, but it's nothing special, and I'm sure they probably could market another name there. But it'll be interesting to see. A lot of people are saying, hey, he's going to join 205 Live. To be honest, I think he will. I really do. I really think he will. I think he's made for that division. He is a terrific athlete, a terrific high flyer. If anyone's going to make that division interesting, he probably will. And he's a terrific worker. I can't see him holding the NXT Championship or anything like that. I believe he'll be in NXT for a short stint, but they'll probably try and get him to 205 Live as soon as they can, considering his abilities. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. He's had some good matches. He has a lot of those acrobatic matches as well. I don't think he'll be able to go over the top like that, but, it's a good call for him. He's young. He's probably starting to hit his prime. He's at that stage of his career where he's ready for WWE. He's done the indies for a while. Time to make some money while you can and see how you go. There's a spot for him with 205 Live. It may not be the best spot in the world, but there is a spot. So it's a good call from him to make the jump now while he can and while the interest is there. Because, try and make that money while you can. So I'm looking forward to him. He'll definitely hit NXT, and it'll be interesting to see how far he goes. I don't think he'll win the NXT Championship, as I said, or be in that mix, but I think he'll definitely be featured quite a bit on NXT and potentially groomed to get to the 205 Live roster. It wouldn't shock me if they put him on 205 Live house shows, if they still do them, by the way. I don't know how long they're going to last for. Probably not long. But if they're still around in 6 months' time, it wouldn't shock me if he's up there and working those house shows for quite some time, even before he hits the main roster. And lastly, I guess before we get into Raw, Roman Reigns. I don't know what to think about this story. Linked with a steroid dealer, and linked by name, I believe. I think Mark Wahlberg was also mentioned as well. What a shock he's on it. Look, to be honest, I don't think Reigns is doing steroids. He has a good look, but he's not that type of look where it's really over the top and a heavy user of steroids. He just has a good physique. It's not a physique, in my opinion, that's, that has that steroid look about it. Jinder Mahal is probably more likely to be on it, I guess, just based off his body type and his look compared to Roman Reigns. Reigns, I guess, has that more Samoan look about him, which that Samoan look is always, they're not quite, the most ripped guys. They've always carried that little bit extra weight and not as muscly defined as most others. And just Samoans are just naturally bigger people, from my opinion. So he kind of has that look that maybe is a bit deceiving, maybe, but I'm not going to really buy it. Reigns came out and denied it, so I'll have to go with Roman Reigns on that one. But again, look, he did get suspended for breaking the wellness policy, so he's not safe. And if he is on it, I'm sure they probably would have suspended him again. He's not the champion right now. Well, he is the IC champion, but not the world champion, so it wouldn't be the end of the world if they had to strip him of the championship. So, and like he said in his tweet, or whatever it was, he said, last year, or a couple of years ago, I got copped. I got in trouble, so why would I risk that again? I'm not going to do that again. I learned my lessons, so I don't think so. It's just a random rumor thrown around. I'm not going to go and accuse him of doing it, because I just don't think he is. I just don't think he has that look about him. I mean, look at Roman Reigns compared to Batista in 2005. Compare the pair. Or Scott Steiner, or just look at Rob Conway or these guys back in 2005 who were just absolutely outrageous. Compare it to Roman Reigns. If Roman Reigns is on steroids, he's not doing them very well because he's not that overly massive. He is, in great shape, yes, but he's not that ridiculous where you can pinpoint him out of a crowd and say, yeah, he's on steroids. You would just say, look, he works out quite a lot. He's obviously looks after himself. So that's just my opinion, just from an outside. I've got no idea what I'm talking about at the end of the day, but I'm just kind of looking at it and saying, logically, if I had to compare him to someone who I know, or I could assume that is on it, I just don't think Reigns is, just by the look of him. He hasn't gotten that much bigger in the last year or so either. So if he has just started, it's not like his body has kind of exploded. It's not like when John Cena came back from injury, and I think it was 2008, it just came back twice as big. It's not like that. It's just, Reigns is stayed the same size. And maybe we see him on week to week, so we don't notice as much. But, to me, Reigns, I don't think he's on it. I don't think it. And even if he is, he'll get caught, he'll get suspended, or whatever. But to be honest, I don't really care. It doesn't really bother me. Look, I don't like the side effect of steroids and everything like that. Obviously, with the Chris Benoit thing and the roid rage, that side effect is so bad. But, I guess when you look at Hollywood, most action actors and people who need that big physique, they're on some kind of steroid or growth hormone, doing something. Obviously, The Rock, you look at him, you have to think he's doing something to get that way, to get that size. So, and look, at the end of the day, I'm just, guessing here. They could definitely, not be. I'm just alleging, but they'd have to do something to, or use something to get that way. And, look, I just don't think Roman Reigns, is on that. And like I said, even if he is, okay, wrestling is a very look-based sport, so I've never really been against the fact where someone's trying something to improve their look or their image or physique. It is against the rules. It is shunned upon, so obviously you can't really condone it. But, when people were on it in 2005, for example, or in the 90s or whatever, when everybody was doing it, look, I don't think many people really cared or just thought it was a natural thing or normal thing because everyone was just, huge. And I think that's part of, I guess, the awe of wrestling that's gone a little bit, is there's not as many massive guys anymore, so it's not really large and live characters. I guess that's why someone like Braun Strowman, who's just a massive, huge individual, is so impressive, because there's just not that much around anymore. A lot of guys are just 6 foot tall and 200 pounds and just look like they're in shape, but nothing amazing. So to me, I've always thought, if you can have some kind of safe method that's not going to affect the brain or anything like that to improve a body image, I'm not really against it. But I think obviously steroids, from what we know, what it's done to other wrestlers, it's a no. But if there's some kind of way, or if there's a way that's not that dangerous that can improve physiques, I wouldn't be that against it. But that's just my opinion. But at the end of the day, I don't think Reigns is on it, so I don't think this is an issue. I just think this might be a bit of a cash grab, trying to get a few headlines type of deal. Anyways, moving along now, Monday Night Raw. Speaking of Strowman, it was the night of Strowman. Braun Strowman featured in many segments. He was fired at the beginning, and when he got fired, I was like, whoa, okay, what is going on here? Why is he fired? And then he started tearing the whole building up and beating everyone up backstage, throwing people around. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was a terrific, terrific way to make Strowman look unstoppable, especially after what he did last week to Lesnar and Kane. I'm glad they weren't on TV. I'm glad they sold that. They didn't need to be there. Strowman did enough. Strowman looks really good heading into the Royal Rumble. Obviously, Lesnar will be there next week for the Raw 25, so that'll be exciting. It's going to be really interesting, Raw 25, because there is just so many people going to be on Raw 25. I don't know how they're going to use them all. I mean, you could have Lesnar come out and maybe Austin's music hits and gets in the face of Brock Lesnar. You could have anything. Undertaker could come out. I don't know. It's going to be very crazy. There's going to be a lot of legends in one building. How they're going to mix in with these current stars, it's going to be so exciting. I think Raw 25 could be the best show, the best Raw, maybe since Raw 1000. That was 2012. I really enjoyed that show. I think that might be at least my most memorable Raw for quite some time. And I think this is going to be even bigger. There's a lot more people coming up for this show than there was in the 1000. So it's exciting. So it'd be cool to see Strowman interact with some of these old legends from the past. But it'd be interesting. I mean, they might have, maybe a panel of legends come out and address the Universal Championship or something. I don't know. They've done it in the past. Talk about what it means to be champion or something like that. I don't know. Or they might just not involve themselves in the world title picture at all. I don't know. But yeah, it'll be interesting. It's going to be interesting. But certainly was the night of Strowman. And if you're not sold on Braun Strowman yet, I don't know what to say to you. Braun Strowman is the man. Braun Strowman is awesome. My favorite character, my favorite wrestler, absolutely. I can't wait till he gets the championship. I don't think it's going to happen in the Royal Rumble, sadly. I think Strowman should have been champion at SummerSlam. I think he should have held the title in the last few months, but unfortunately, they've just been stuck on Lesnar. They've had a plan of what they wanted to do at WrestleMania for all year, so they've stuck with Lesnar for the entire year. They wanted to give Lesnar a year-long run. I don't know, man. I'm just so tired of not having the championship on Raw all the time. So tired of Lesnar being the champion. He doesn't need the championship, especially when you got Samoa Joe, who's on fire. He's got great promos, great matches. Seth Rollins doing really well. Finn Balor's doing really well. But Braun Strowman's, his career best work. Roman Reigns is doing well. The Miz on fire. You got so many characters on Raw that are really stepping up their game, really performing well, and the title is still sitting at home. I just can't justify it. I just can't agree with it. But fingers crossed, Strowman gets it at the Rumble. Not holding my breath. Look, if went with Lesnar this long, you might as well stick with him to WrestleMania. So I believe Lesnar will keep it to WrestleMania. Have that marquee match, probably against Reigns, or maybe a surprise winner of the Royal Rumble. I don't know. But Lesnar will keep the title, and Strowman will just have to wait. We'll wait until maybe after WrestleMania to get his chance to be the champion. The other major thing on Raw, I guess, that I took out of it was the return of the curb stomp. I thought that was really cool to see the curb stomp return. Seth Rollins kind of just hit it out of nowhere, and I think that's the best way to do it. Don't emphasize it too much. Don't talk about it. Just go bang, hit a curb stomp, and bring the move back. I don't know why they banned it to begin with. Obviously, it had a bit of controversy, so they've waited a couple of years for the heat to die down on that, bring the move back, and I think it's a much better finish for Seth Rollins. I think you could do the knee for the setup, and then boom, the curb stomp to finish would be awesome, and I'm sure we might probably do that. So I think it's fantastic to see that move back. It just brings back that other exciting element to Seth Rollins' moveset, and it can only help him. It can only help him. That move was used to win him a championship at WrestleMania, I believe. So people know it's a strong move. People know that it's decent, and they popped a little bit when they saw it. I think they won't be just shocked, or it was a bad crowd, either or. I mean, I hope the crowd is good next week for Raw 25. If the crowd is poor, I will be so annoyed. It cannot be poor, surely. It has to be the biggest fans in wrestling coming to this show, because there's so many names. Austin's going to be a Taker, Michaels. I'm sure The Rock will be there. Chris Jericho, I think, will be there. The Dudleys are going to be there. The list goes on. They announced a lot of women that are going to show up as well. Tori Wilson, surprisingly, is going to show up. I think Kelly, Michelle McCool. So there's a lot of women are showing up as well. I'm sure to do something with the Women's Rumble. But there's a lot of names. And, it'd be cool to see Batista come back. I don't think it's going to happen. I think, I heard this on another couple of podcasts. They talked about this was the best time to bring back Hulk Hogan. I really got to agree. Hulk Hogan could come back in, a low-key capacity. You bring him back here, reintroduce him to the crowd when all these other legends are in the ring. And, the emphasis isn't all about Hogan, but, you bring him back, in this feel-good night, it's can only really help him. And rather than bringing him back when all the center of attention is focused on him, cutting a promo or whatever, Hulk Hogan could come out when all these legends, maybe at the end of the show, they're all got all the legends in the ring, going off the air, celebrating 1,000, 25 years, I should say, and then Hulk Hogan's music hits and he joins them and celebrates. Something like that, I don't know. And I know Hogan wasn't a big part of Raw, but I still think he's got a place there if they want to use him. And if they're going to do that, it'd be a perfect time to reintroduce him. But Hogan was, obviously I watched majority of 2005 of Raw, and Hogan for 3 or 4 month period stretch there with the Shawn Michaels thing was heavily involved there, and other little patches here and there as well when he first returned to feud with The Rock. So he's had a few patches here and there, and not just flash in the pan type of things. Come back and done major feuds and angles. So he's done his little stints on Raw here and there. So look, if they're going to bring back Tori Wilson or Kelly, whatever, they're going to bring back Hulk Hogan. So I'd like to see it. Look, I think Hulk Hogan has done his time. I think he's learned his lesson, paid the price. So, but I honestly believe Raw 25 will be the best show in years. I'm so excited for it. I'm definitely watching it live, not missing it for anything. I hope it's as good as I'm thinking. It might be not that epic, but just seeing all the legends there will be enough. Just surprising names. I'm sure I'll have a smile on my face just to see everyone back. And interacting with the current roster as well will be really cool. So, just those face-to-face confrontations that you would probably never expect to see. Promos back and forth. I just think it'll be really cool. Just exciting. And I can't wait. SmackDown this week. Bobby Roode became the United States champion, winning against Mojo and then against Jinder. So really the whole show was around this US title tournament, which was good. It was good to see that center of attention focused around the tournament. I personally would have just kept it for the Rumble, but they wanted to kind of get it out of the way here on SmackDown. I'm not sure why. It's a bit of a strange one, I suppose. I would have just had the semifinals or whatever, and then the final happen at the Rumble and have that big moment at the Rumble. But I guess maybe they've got plans for a lot of these title contenders to be in the Rumble, so they don't want them to be locked up in another match. Or maybe they felt as though, oh crap, maybe we have too many matches for the Rumble and we need to cut a couple to get our 2 Rumble matches in. They've got 2 out of the 4 hours of the show. It's going to be just Royal Rumble matches. So maybe they felt as though for time restraints they had to cut this match, and if that's the case, that's fair enough. But I probably wouldn't have done 3 matches for the US title tournament in a night. I would have saved the title match for next week and hyped it up a little bit more and made next week feel a bit more special. But they went with it. And I thought it was a good match. I thought both guys went well. And Bobby Roode winning is fantastic. I think it's good to see him with the championship, give him some credibility, and let him have a chance to run with the title and kind of, get the US title back on track a bit more. I don't know what they're going to do with Dolph Ziggler. I really have no idea. Will he return at some point and come for the title? Will he come back with a different character, different gimmick? Will he be in the Royal Rumble? Will he return at all? I don't know. I really don't know where they're going with this. It is intriguing, but I guess, I don't know. It's just Ziggler we haven't heard a peep from him for a while, so it's hard to really say. But I'm glad Jinder didn't get the belt. We had Jinder win the championship, the WWE Championship, hold it all year nearly. He's had a long enough reign with the belt, so I'm glad they're going in a different direction, try something else. So I'm excited to see Bobby Roode the championship as well, and let's hope that they keep pushing Roode and he can start finding that success. I still think he's probably better off being a heel, and I'm sure maybe later on this year he probably will turn heel, but it's okay. It's okay, he's got the championship now, so we'll see how he goes. But like I said, nothing else really happened on SmackDown. The other big piece of news for WWE this week was Goldberg. He's been officially announced for the Hall of Fame. Looks like he could be the headliner. Coming off a recent WrestleMania big match against Lesnar and winning the Universal Championship, losing the Universal Championship. Fans know who he is. Fans are very familiar with him, and he wasn't exactly getting the best reception when he left. There were a bit mixed reactions for him, but I'm sure they will appreciate him when he goes into the Hall of Fame. If you have to think, does Goldberg deserve it? Well, he was probably one of the most over characters in WCW at its peak. He had an epic match with Hulk Hogan, champion versus champion. He was US champ, world champ, had the big streak. One of the only characters that WCW created that was any good, that got over and drew them a lot of money at a time where they were just focused on young, older guys. Goldberg was really the only younger guy to come through and really succeed for them, at least before they jumped ship. And he stayed there to the end. Now, I think Goldberg definitely had a terrific WCW run. His WWE run the first time around, he did win the belt, I think. Had the Rock match, feud with Triple H, couple of chamber matches and whatever, and had the disaster with Lesnar at the end. So it wasn't the best run in the world, but it wasn't exactly that bad. He still won the championship, so he had some time in the WWE. And then he obviously came back and did the short little stint late last year, and then obviously, early last year. So about a year ago or so now, and obviously it's Survivor Series 2016. So he's been around for a little bit. He's done some time. He's very familiar with the fans now, and I think he put 7 years into the business. So, and also a little bit of rumor going around that he had maybe some talks about going and having a run with New Japan. I don't know how true that is, but I read that earlier on, so take that with a grain of salt. But maybe this will shut that down, but I don't think he would have done it anyway. But yeah, look, it's good. Goldberg is obviously a changed guy. Wasn't the most well-liked guy for a long time, but I think he's come back and mended some fences there and kind of earned the respect of the boys again. So I think he deserves it, absolutely. And is he good enough to be a headliner? I think so. I think that probably confirms Taker won't be in the Hall of Fame this year. I didn't expect Taker to be in this year. So I'm not sure who else will be going in, but we'll see. We'll see the announcements. I think there was a few rumored names, but I kind of forgot who they were. I don't have that in front of me. But so maybe some women that might pop up at the Raw 25 or something like that. We might see a Hall of Fame announcement there. I don't know, but I think that would be cool. Have a Hall of Fame announcement by having the person actually appear on the show. I think would be pretty cool. So I'll have to wait and see. And last little piece of news before we get to around our questions and some gaming chat. Impact, TNA, have announced that they'll be doing a deal, having a Twitch channel now. So obviously going on Twitch and streaming some matches and some of their events. If you haven't already, go ahead and check them out on Twitch because, their Twitch is Twitch TV Impact Wrestling. Because right now, I believe for the next week, they're streaming some old pay-per-views and some old matches, which is really cool. If you haven't had a chance to watch a lot of TNA over the years, it's a great opportunity to watch some of their pay-per-views in high-definition quality, chat with some of the people while they're watching it as well on Twitch. It's a really cool thing. So if you haven't already, go ahead and check it out, especially if you're just looking for some wrestling to watch. It's not probably current product, it's probably more of their older stuff, which is probably a good thing. So definitely, if you got time, go ahead and check that out and give them the follow. Give TNA a follow there, because if more of these ventures are successful with Impact joining up, House of Hardcore, I think AAA's on there, more wrestling is successful on Twitch, the more opportunities other promotions will get to be featured on Twitch and have their product there and get that partnership. So it's a good thing overall for wrestling, just to support these channels. So I went ahead and gave Impact a follow on Twitch just to support them. But definitely, I'm going to go ahead and check out some more of their streams, because I definitely want to check out some of their older stuff and catch some of their classic matches. I don't know what their schedule is or what they'll be streaming, but when I was watching, I think I was watching Lockdown, might have been 2011, 2010 or something like that. So, yeah, go ahead and check that out. But we got some questions to answer. Before we get there, just a little bit of gaming chat. Last couple of days, you might have noticed I put up a review for a tennis game called AO Tennis, which is known as Australian Open Tennis. So I put up a review for that on my channel. If you haven't already, go ahead and check that out. But had the opportunity to get that game and review it. Whenever I've got some people that will send me some games and will give me the chance to review some games. I don't accept every game, but I will take a look and pick and choose some games that interest me and try them out and review them. And this was one. I was really looking forward to playing a tennis game on the PS4. It's been a long time. Probably not as great as I would have liked. I think I gave it a 5.5 out of 10 on my review. Obviously, they're doing a lot of new updates and things like that to the game down the line to make it better, but for right now, it's not quite perfect. Maybe in a couple of months it will be, but it was good to play something different and get that review done. My third review I've done in the last few months, so it was really exciting to get some more reviews done. I want to try and do more, so it's hard because obviously a lot of these new games, for example, Far Cry coming out, it's hard to do that because the reviews are normally have been released before I could even get the game in my hands. Whereas this one, I can get the review done on the release date. It's not as a popular title, so I can get my review up and be one of the first people to get the reviews done, review out, and people can get more eyes on it. So I kind of grab an opportunity to take advantage of that, and I did that with Ashes Cricket and Rugby 18, so if you haven't already checked those reviews out. But it's really cool to do something different and do some reviews. I really enjoy doing them. I think it's something I've wanted to do for a while in some capacity, so great to get that opportunity and great to do something there. So, yes, if you haven't already, check that out, AO Tennis, and let me know what you think. We have some questions, though, from you guys that you've sent in, so I'm going to go ahead and pull them up and answer some of the questions. And, of course, if you want to leave a question for next week, you can do so in the YouTube comment section down below or on the Facebook page, facebook.com/BrendanPlays. And normally, as I said, put that up after SmackDown every week. Okay, so the first question is coming from JMan477. Wants to know, when is the next TEW live stream? So obviously been working on TLC the last couple of days, and that's my priority right now. But I'll try and get a live stream for TEW done. Hopefully on the weekend, I'll try and get at least one, maybe two done. But definitely on the weekend, I'll be planning on doing at least one. So keep an eye out. I'll let you guys know on my Twitter when I'll be doing that. But maybe before I do stream TLC, maybe I'll get on and play some TEW. So we might do that. This one's from Austin Plus. His question is, on my YouTube channel, I've been trying for months to get some type of recognition. He wants to know, can I look at his content and tell me what I have to do to get some? Well, if you want me to look at your content, feel free. Look, I don't look at everybody's because sometimes people say, hey, can you shout me out? But, if I shouted everybody out, I'll be sitting there shouting everyone out all day long. But some, people that I've kind of known or, get to know or, I've watched their content, enjoyed their content, I will shout out. So, sometimes I will check them out. So if you just, send me a video on my Twitter or whatever, if I got time, I'll check it out. But YouTube is so difficult to gain exposure. They've made it even tougher now to monetize videos with 1,000 subscribers needed and 4,000 hours. Obviously, I'll be okay in that regard. But it's difficult. It is difficult. It's always going to be difficult. I still struggle to get exposure. I've only got nearly 70,000 subscribers. I don't grow a lot. I just a steady growth every single month. My growth hasn't really changed from the last 3 or 4 years. It's just been the same kind of consistency over the last few years, and that's okay. I wish it was better, but it's not. It is what it is. It's so difficult to get in there. Really, you kind of have to be lucky, or just keep at it. Just keep at it. Post your videos around. Try and tell a friend, and hopefully they'll tell a friend. It's just you have to title your videos, use good thumbnails, use good tags. Those are some of the kind of the basics that you can use to maybe help your videos get seen a little bit better. But realistically, it's so difficult to get any type of recognition, and the only real thing you can do is just be consistent. Just keep at it. It could take you 6 months before you get anywhere on YouTube, but if you work hard, you can make it. It's still possible. It's just very, very hard. And, it's not a guarantee. If your content is good, it will rise above. But if it's not great, you're going to have to try and fine-tune it, tweak it, improve it to make sure that it is entertaining for people to watch and make it appealing for people to watch. So if you are not getting that recognition and you've been going at it for quite some time, take a step back, look at your content and try and figure out ways to improve it. Maybe watch other people's content to do something similar and look at how they do it and come up with a few ideas of your own. I think that's always a good idea. Always kind of be alert of your competition and seeing what they're doing. Me personally, I don't really do that. I just do my own thing and just kind of stick to myself. But I think if you're new to the game, it's helpful to kind of get a few ideas and a few techniques and learn a couple little things that might separate you from the rest, or do something a little bit different, put your own spin on things. But, just keep at it. Keep at it. It's going to be so hard, but if you keep at it like I've done, I've been at it for many, many years. I spent 3 years doing videos and I didn't get any recognition at all. But eventually it just came, and I've now got a nice little channel. I really enjoyed doing it, and it paid off in the end. It was worth it. You just got to keep on grinding. Thomas Bella wants to know, how much do you think WWE will mention Jericho's match in New Japan when he returns to Raw next week? I don't think they really need to mention it. Jericho might mention it if he cuts a promo. Personally, I would love to see Jericho come out with the Judas theme song. I love that song so much. I wish he would come out as his new theme in WWE. It's not going to happen, but I wish he would. Look, it'd be interesting. And Jericho's been healing it up in Japan. Will he come back as the babyface on Raw? I'm sure he probably will. There's no point in him healing it up for a night. But I don't think there's any real need to mention it. I think they can, if Kevin Owens is on the show, maybe he'll interact with him or do something there. I don't think there's any real need, but they might say, Jericho's kind of been, competing all around the world for the last few months. They might say something like that. Been in Japan, had a big match there. I don't know, but we'll see. But it is possible, but pretty unlikely. And this last question has come from Cameron Fox. What do you think WWE should do with Big Cass when he comes back? Big Cass is someone I think has been forgotten about. Before he got injured, he was getting a pretty big push, probably lined up to be a vocal point of Raw for quite some time as a top heel. Went down, and I don't think anybody's really thought about him since he's been injured. I don't think he's been heard of or mentioned at all. Enzo's kind of gone ahead and been successful on his own when we all thought Big Cass was going to be the successful one. It turned out to be Enzo when we thought Enzo might get fired or get released or get put in another crappy tag team. Enzo's shined. So Big Cass has been forgotten about. I think he and Carmella just broke up as well, so that's interesting. I don't know what his time schedule is. I think when he tore his ACL or a knee injury or something like that, so probably 6 to 8 months. I think it's been 5 months or something like that, so he could be returning after WrestleMania. I don't know. I'm sure. Obviously the WWE like Big Cass. They see something in him, so it's quite possible they might just pick up where they left off, just keep pushing him, have him squash some low-end guys and just slowly build his way up to bigger and better competition. Or they might just kind of repackage him, do something different, and go in a different way, a different direction. But at the moment, it's kind of up in the air. I think there's potential in Big Cass. I think they probably are pushing him harder than what he probably deserves or what he's ready for. So we'll have to see. But I think another year or two under his belt with wrestling before they really start to go with him would be really good for him. But I think him just in the mid-card, competing maybe a mid-card championship, will probably be for the best for him. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have time for this edition of the podcast. Next week's a big one to talking about Raw 25. Cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. But like I said, if you want to leave a question for next week's show, you can do so in the YouTube comment section down below or over the Facebook page. Check out the website, BreadandPlaces.com, for your TLC coverage. And while you're there, join up to the forums. It's free to join and chat about wrestling over there as well. TLC this weekend. Don't miss out on it. It's going to be one of our better shows in quite some time. It's going to be a big one. We're crowning a brand new Universal Champion, something we haven't seen for quite some time. Cannot wait for that. And as we said, we probably will do a TEW stream as well. We might do back-to-back streams. It might be a big night of streaming, or big afternoon of streaming on Sunday. So if you're around, try and tune in for the stream. It's going to be so much fun. But it should be a big weekend for Brendan Plays. So make sure you don't miss any of it. Thank you for watching, and thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Leave a like if you can. Subscribe to hear more. And make sure, if you haven't already, to download the show on iTunes, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, or Stitcher. They're the other ways to get the show. So if you can't watch it on YouTube or it's not convenient, check out those platforms and you'll be able to find the show on there. Thank you for listening in, ladies and gentlemen. See you next week.